It's Richard. Richard. It's a Latvian name. Yeah, Richard. It's like Richard, except like we pronounce it in a strange way. So my name is Richard. I'm one of the founders of Supliful. We're three friends. One co-founder, Martin. I've known him since first grade. We went to the same primary school, middle school, and we tried many businesses before, including a print-on-demand poster business that we started in 2016. We really struggled with that business, but eventually we figured out how to scale it. We scaled it and we sold it because we couldn't get enough repeat purchases, and acquisition costs were getting really high. So we figured, let's do supplements. Let's basically do the same we've been doing so far, except in the supplement industry. Because it's like a consumable product and also a habit creating product. But we can find like a printful for supplements, and that's how we figured together with our developer at that dropshipping business. All three of us, we figured, okay, let's build Supliful, like printful for supplements, basically.
Yeah,
that's not very original name, but that's basically how our story started. That's in a nutshell. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just announce you, and let's just continue talking.
Okay.
So welcome everybody to Supliful podcast. My name is Richard. I'm founder of Supliful, and on this podcast we invite fascinating people from dropshipping and print-on-demand industry. And today with us is Travis. Travis Ross is host of the podcast Print on Demand Cast, and he is also owner of the print on demand service called Make Your Own Design. Make Your Mark Design. Mm-hmm. Apologies. Mark, welcome. Sorry, I messed up, man. We'll edit it out. So Travis, welcome to our podcast.
Yeah, man.
Happy to have you on board.
Thanks for having me.
How's it going?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's going good. Thanks for having me. I was when I got invited to be on the show, I was playing a little with Supliful and created our own print-on-demand cast multivitamin gummies, and published them, on your site, and shared it out with our listeners, and they got a kick out of it because it's got like our logo on it and everything, and just a really cool print-on-demand, idea, to do it with supplements. That's really it's really unique, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining, and who knows, maybe after this episode you'll have your first sales already with vitamins.
I'll take it.
And as I explained to you before we started recording, with supplement sales, like how it's different from print on demand is that you don't sell the design. Design in this case is secondary. It needs to match your branding, but people don't buy your product because of the design. They buy it because of the nutritional value or like function this product provides. And so your job is how you compete is with the context around this product. You need to explain to your audience like what that is. Do they even need it? How to use it? When to use it? And so on. So that's the best way to compete and retain your customers.
Sure. Yeah.
So Travis, you have a print-on-demand podcast where you talk about all things print-on-demand, and also saw that on your website you've listed the episodes in a very logical manner. So starting with before you start the episode, and then when you start, and how to scale, and so on. So that really makes sense, and I guess you've encountered a lot of sellers in print-on-demand space, and you know what are the main struggles. So what is it like? What's the like? If you can split this journey into episodes, what are the biggest struggles in each in each phase and how to overcome them.
Yeah, so we started the Print on Demand cast I guess we're coming up on 3 years now. We just recorded episode 156 yesterday, and it really has been a journey for us. The whole reason we started it was really to create a podcast that we wish we would have had when we were starting. So very simple, or similar to your story. Well, maybe there's some variations there, but I got started selling physical products on Amazon. And I was doing everything from retail arbitrage to importing, private label products and putting my own packaging together for those, and had a lot of success. In fact, we started a conference here in Denver called the Rocky Mountain Reseller Conference, and we ran it for 3 years. It was a lot of fun. Met a lot of great people. Still have a lot of great relationships in that community. And year 2, in an after-hours event, like in the bar, I heard somebody talking about sublimating coffee mugs in their basement with like some cheap presses and, a converted inkjet printer to use the sublimation dyes. And I thought, well, I already know how to create listings on Amazon because I'm doing it for my private label products. Why don't I take these designs that I have on Merch by Amazon, which I was also doing at the time, and take those designs and put them on coffee mugs, because Amazon isn't doing it. So I started doing that and started developing some systems to try to list faster, and they were selling, and I was just fulfilling them out of my basement at my house. And that ended up, moving into a space, with a mug oven, so we could do like all these. And now today, Make and Mark Design, I've got like 5 different printing methods, and we fulfill for other people, and obviously fulfill all of our products. And it's just been a crazy journey. And so along the way, my co-host Josiah was also doing this with his father-in-law, and they had a fulfillment company of their own. And then obviously, tons of Amazon listings, Walmart listings, Etsy listings. And we talked about doing this podcast for a long time, and it was kind of just inevitable at some point we would do it. And once we started it, it's just been so much fun. So to answer your question, we've had so many different episodes, and as I'm sure you'll find out as you continue to do episodes, it can be challenging to like figure out what are the topics that people want to hear. And so one of the biggest things is, hey, I'm just starting out. I don't know where to go. I don't know which way is up, and which vendor should I use to fulfill my products? What niches should I go in? Which channels should I start on? Because there's a lot of ways to skin the print-on-demand cat, if you will. There's going your own branded product route, like with a Shopify store or something, and driving all of your own traffic. Or, a lot of people these days are getting started on Etsy. And because there's such a low barrier to entry, it's very easy to create a listing on Etsy. It's very, their user interface is really, really good, and it really kind of walks you through how to do that. And then the next logical question is like, well, okay, I'm on Etsy. I'm not seeing a lot of sales. Why is that? And there's a lot of answers to that too, and so we go in from everything from, well, how are you marketing? How are you following up? How are you, what is your listing strategy? How many listings do you have? And so there's a lot of different topics you can get into when you're really kind of listening to the feedback from the people to hear where their pain points are. And we've tried to do, and I think we've done an okay job at addressing a lot of those pain points, and giving some information that can help people in different areas. Because there's some people that listen to our show that have production facilities, or they're maybe producing one of their products and they're outsourcing or drop shipping the rest. And so there's a lot of different kind of, again, there's a lot of ways to skin this cat. You can outsource everything. You can do some of it yourself. You can do all of it yourself. There's just so many different directions you can go. And we try to have content that kind of addresses all of those the best we can without, completely going out the deep end.
Yeah. I like how this story started for you. You went to a bar and you overheard the conversation.
Right.
That's really cool. Most people who are successful at what they do, they don't have some grand plan where they figure out all the steps ahead. They just I don't know, they hear something or learn something, they act on it. So I guess that's the most important thing. Just do it.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Quick side note: the video might be blurry because it's because of the internet, maybe, but it's recording locally, and I'll receive the locally recorded file for the episode. Okay. So no worries about video quality. All right. Yeah, Travis, so thanks for sharing your story. It's quite fascinating how you come to this point, and I like your approach that you don't like think about how to go viral with your podcast. You just listen to what your audience says, and you create content for them. That's really nice. And also, so not only do you have this podcast, but do you also have your own print-on-demand fulfillment service? So is this a niche service, or you're competing with Printful, and Printify? Like, how would you position yourself?
Yeah, I mean, so I'll just be 100% honest. I'm actually, I'm backing away from most of my production for other people and really focusing on ours because the margins are better. The fulfillment, you have to sell it wholesale. And so you're only getting a small piece of that pie, where when I fulfill, my own products, I get, I'm selling at retail. So, so we are shifting a little bit with Make Your Mark design. I'm being very, very, very selective with who we actually bring on. There are a couple products that we do that a lot of the, like the Printfuls and the Printifys and those people don't do. And so that's helped us. So I would say we're kind of niche in who we select and who we fulfill for, and we're becoming more niche. But the cool thing about like having a fulfillment center and not being strictly fulfillment is once I landed in this facility, I claimed my Google business, on the map. And so we get a lot of, walk-ins and people, well, not walk-ins, we get a few of those, but mostly it's, phone calls. Hey, can you do 100 t-shirts for this event or whatever? And so the local business has really supplemented the online business in our particular case.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, never thought that those business accounts on Google really work that well.
That's amazing.
All right, so you're more like a boutique print-on-demand.
yeah, kind of
boutique service.
Yeah,
and you're also located somewhere in Denver, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you mentioned you organized an event in Rocky Mountains. Yeah, I remember I once. So Supliful has a fulfillment center in like outside Denver. I forgot the name of the neighborhood. Anyways, yeah, there's it's really nearby the Apex Trail that goes inside the mountains. Maybe you know.
Oh wow. You think is it like in Boulder or maybe Broomfield? We're in Broomfield.
Yeah, Boulder. Yeah. Golden and Boulder. Like Boulder is more north, and we're in Golden. Yeah. Yeah, that's also a side note. Okay, so I mentioned initially that with print on demand, probably you see less repeat sales. But is it though like that? Actually, maybe I just didn't figure out that part. Do you see businesses that have really succeeded with this that are like I don't know, maybe some kind of print on demand subscription products or some model that works well in this sense?
Yeah, we just literally recorded a podcast yesterday that'll release tomorrow, so it'll already be released by the time this podcast gets released. But we were talking about strategies to grow fast, particularly on Etsy. But these strategies can kind of really transcend the different channels. It doesn't have to just be on Etsy. But one of the things that we talked about is some strategies to have those repeat buyers or create those repeat buyers. One of them is, an obvious, if you want to grow fast on the channel, it might be wise if you have the finances to create some loss leaders, some products that you're going to sell at a low price so that you can kind of feed the algorithm some sales. And also simultaneously, if you pair that with a nice follow-up strategy, that includes like a thank you email, it includes like an invitation to be on my email list, an invitation to follow me on socials, maybe a discount code. You can really do a lot of things that you wouldn't think you could do in print on demand, by just following up. And you can get people on your email list. You can then remarket them for free. You don't have to spend money on, Facebook ads and all of those other things. If you can, and because you're doing these loss leaders, you're theoretically getting more sales, at the beginning that potentially could turn into, more sales down the road and increase that, lifetime value of your customer. And so, that's one strategy that you can use in print on demand. I would say the other thing is when you're starting out, to consider your target demographic, your target audience that you're actually going to try to sell to. And the reason that's so important, just for an example, like what, okay, I'm going to get into the gift market, and I'm just going to be the kind of one-stop shop for any line of work. I've got, gifts for mechanics and nurses and moms and dads and, and I'll see a lot of, and I think we see this in print on demand anyway, but you'll see a lot of trends and valleys in your sales depending on the, the holiday that's happening at the time. Of course, everybody, sells a ton of print on demand products at Christmas, and that doesn't matter what niche you're in. But what if you decided, okay, I'm going to target the wedding demographic? And because all of a sudden first of all, people spend money on weddings. They spend a lot of money on weddings. And so if you can find print on demand products that can serve that demographic, not only can you get them on your email list, but then, in a couple years, those people are now having babies. And so you can expand into maybe a baby line, and you already have their emails. You know that they got married, and they're probably going to, and so you basically are following them through phases of life and marketing to them according to the phase of life that they're in. So I think really thinking about that at the beginning can really set you up for success in the long term and really have high lifetime value of your customers. So that basically helps with that acquisition cost when you had a loss leader, or you're putting out Etsy ads or Amazon ads or whatever it is. The more you can market to that customer with inexpensive ways, such as email or other ways, social media, have them follow your social media, you could stay in front of that person for longer periods of time and increase the lifetime value for that customer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's an interesting strategy, especially like this loss leader strategy. I never heard about it before. Everybody who's successful in print-on-demand, dropshipping, or any other e-commerce niche, they all are always focused on customer retention and revenue retention. So there are different terms for this, like subscription or following your customer through their life cycle and just offering relevant products or whatever that strategy is. But there's always this mindset that you first make a good impression on customer, like deliver this promise, and then just keep like offering something that's relevant and useful for the customer. So yeah, that's super important for successful business. So what about like this AI age right now? How has it changed print on demand? You've probably started seeing a lot of strange designs and how artists feel about this. And can you comment?
Yeah. We've done a couple shows on, talking about how AI has influenced the print on demand space. In fact, I've written for a couple of local or some publications here, and I think you're seeing Mid-Journey with the actual art creation can be just absolutely incredible. And you talk to one person, they're like, oh, I don't know about the copyright. And then you talk to another person, they're like, oh, they've got that all figured out. And I don't know where we've landed on that. I think from what I've heard, I know Adobe is coming out with their Firefly tool, and they basically said, we will pay for any legal costs that you come across from using our tool if you get sued for copyright infringement or trademark infringement or something like that, as long as you're using our tool and it's our AI generated image that you're using. So they've basically kind of set the bar, I think, for a lot of these companies to take responsibility. Hey, if you're going to put this product out, you need to take responsibility for that part of it. So that's a good sign as far as using those services. At the same time, you have lowered the bar to entry, because now anybody that has a computer and can sign up to Midjourney can now start creating print-on-demand designs, and these designs are really, really, really good. I think. I think while they're good, I think the key with somebody that's doing that is going to be getting systems into place to where they can scale really, really fast with those designs, and not just go, oh, I got a cool design. Okay, now I'm going to go to Etsy and I'm going to, create my mock-ups, and I'm going to write my description, and then I'm going to go back to Midjourney and start over again and just kind of do it one at a time. I don't think that's the most efficient way to move forward or to scale. I think if you can figure out, with the use of a lot of tools that are already out there, ways to, put your mock-ups together in a bulk way, and then come back to whatever channel. Like for instance, Amazon, we sell a ton of things on Amazon, and they have, Excel spreadsheets that we just basically fill out, put all the links in. We manipulate the spreadsheets with formulas and whatever to create the right link. And, and then bam, we have, literally like last week we listed 40,000 widen tumblers, and we have a lot of designs, of course, because we've been doing this for a long time, but it was just a process of use this, use this, use this. And then in that process, we do use AI. So we use ChatGPT to do some of our basic keywording and descriptions. And then obviously we have to trademark check a lot of that stuff, because we don't want to, get flagged by Amazon in the back end. But the same thing goes with Walmart. You can use flat files. So I think while AI may feel like a threat to artists that are really, talented, and their work is original, and they're feeling threatened by this AI design portion of it. I think that most people that are using it probably don't have the tools or the skills or the kind of the business savvy to really, really scale. Now there will be some that'll figure it out, and but it's still kind of a one by one process to create these designs, which isn't a bad thing, because over time you can create hundreds and thousands of them, and then use the bulk tools and put the same design on multiple products. Because all those tumblers that we just listed, they're already on coffee mugs. A lot of them are on T-shirts. A lot of them are on this product or this product or this product. And so the joke on the Print on Demand cast with Josiah is that I'm always talking about like organization, and like how your designs are organized, how your SKUs are organized, what your filing system, and the ability to manipulate a link in the same way, and just change a couple of numbers on the SKU or whatever. Or the design ID is what I call each design has a design ID. You change a couple numbers in the URL, and boom, it's a different print file for Guten or for Printful or whoever you're using. And it goes back to kind of at the beginning, thinking through that strategy of, I need to set this up in a way that it's scalable, and and that I can continue to add it, and it makes sense to me and to anybody I eventually employ or hire, virtual assistants or whoever. And then SOPs, standard operating procedures. You have to have them if you want to scale, if you want, and those can change over time, and they have a ton of times for us. We've gone through letting Amazon create our SKUs to, we need to do this. And then we changed one more time. And then we changed finally to the system what we have now with the design IDs. So every design has a design ID that is part of our SKU. And then we, also have the product identifiers in there as well. So anybody in our organization looking at a design or looking at a SKU can say, okay, I know what the design ID is, so I can easily find that through a URL or going to our storage space, and I can easily decide or figure out what the product is, and it just makes it so much easier and gives you the ability to start using some of these bulk tools in a very efficient way.
Okay, yeah. So this is quite advanced, techniques and workflows you employ and to basically scale the way you publish new products to these marketplaces. That's quite interesting. I love working with spreadsheets, but I'm bad at it. So I imagine how difficult it is to create XML or CSV or Excel files that are scalable, where you can just quickly add information, design file links and so on, and then just upload it to marketplace and magic happens. So that's quite fascinating. I had an episode a couple weeks ago with Etsy seller who also said pretty much the same thing, that it's not about creating some kind of masterpiece, publishing it and then expecting sales. It's about how you create so many variations of different designs and then just efficiently publishing it, because that's what really brings results. You never know what's going to work, really. You just need to kind of throw spaghetti against the wall, see what sticks, and then amplify whatever works, and ignore the rest. Yeah, so okay, so you're not scared from AI. It's more about workflows.
I think so. I think for a successful business, print-on-demand business, workflow is king. AI is going to assist people in kind of the design creation and even some of the descriptions and things like that. But I think at the end of the day, your workflow is king in whatever business you're in. And AI is a tool that can assist your workflow, but it's not going to replace it.
All right. Are you working with the marketplaces exclusively, or you also have your own Shopify store or a WooCommerce store?
So 99% of our products are on marketplaces. I do have a line that it's more of it's around elections, and presidential elections specifically. And so back in 2020, I had that, site going, and, we were doing Facebook ads and we were doing the whole 9 yards, and it was very profitable. But after the election, I basically took it down, and put a pause on it. But I'm getting ready to, fire that back up again, because next year, of course, we're going to elect another president here. And I'm thinking that if I get it up now, I can potentially capitalize on some Christmas sales as well, in anticipation of the election year. So most of our stuff is on channels, but every once in a while when I see kind of some low-hanging fruit or have a crazy idea, I'll jump on Shopify and kind of test something out and see if it's a winner or not.
Are you monetizing both camps, or you're just going for one party?
What? Oh, yeah. I'm an equal opportunity
design-wise.
offender.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
So, but why I originally asked about about whether or not you have your own store, because there is this discussion always online. Marketplaces, of course, they're super tempting. There's huge traffic and
Sure.
huge amount or volume of money going through every day. But on the flip side, you're at the mercy of Amazon or Etsy.
Yes, you are.
You had the experience with this. Something happens one day, that's it. Your business is over. It's closed. Of course, you can appeal, but it's huge struggle. I have a friend who's doing this, and I always tell him, "Come on, man! Like, just open your Shopify store. Yes, it will take time, but at least you own the audience, and you're kind of safe." But there's probably some kind of middle way. You mentioned initially these loss leaders. So these could be like, is it allowed even to fulfill orders? So sell on marketplace, fulfill orders by yourself, and then have some kind of inserts in the packaging, like a thank you note or something.
It's definitely platform dependent. Amazon doesn't really like it, and so I would not recommend doing that type of marketing with Amazon, inviting people to your email list. However, you can include like warranty cards with it. So if anything goes wrong with it in a year, whatever, blah, 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 just sign up here. And that can act as, it's a little gray hat because it's not, but I mean, if you're willing to, give a replacement for a t-shirt that you sold 8 months ago, in order to get that email and to start that customer conversation, it might be worth a try. On Etsy, on the other hand, you are allowed to market, and you'll see on listings a lot of times they'll have their email sign-up link right in their description, at, somewhere towards the bottom or something. Make sure you see all of our new products, sign up here, blah, blah, blah. So it is allowed on Etsy. I'm not sure on Walmart. My guess is that Walmart is pretty much, copied Amazon at every corner. So my guess is that they're probably similar in their terms of service to Amazon, and frown upon, marketing to their customers. So yeah, you do need to make sure, you're doing it in a compliant way. But I think you can still, you can email those Amazon customers, even if you don't ask for, them to get on an email list, but you can at least continue to foster that relationship. You can give them discount codes to get repeat buyers, things like that. So there are some strategies that you can use on Amazon to increase your lifetime value of a customer. But I think Etsy really, of the big three, if you will, Walmart, Amazon, and Etsy, I think it's the easiest. It's still kind of a little bit of the Wild West too there. You do hear about people getting Etsy accounts shut down, but a lot of that's algorithm based. And when you do appeal, if you haven't been egregious in your breaking of their terms of service, you can a lot of times get, restored and back on the platform. And then, they do have some trademark things, that are happening. You see people getting products taken down and things like that. But I think right now it feels like Etsy has a little bit more of a human touch than particularly Amazon. Amazon is so automated, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. And to your point, you definitely are treading on eggshells when you're selling on that platform. And you have to really do everything you possibly can to avoid doing something wrong that's going to tip their hand. And then as soon as something does happen, you have to address it. You have to jump on it and address it immediately. If you don't, you can really get in trouble.
Yeah, I guess Etsy is the underdog. So underdogs usually they have to be a bit more friendly and provide better customer service. And like a bit different case, but maybe the same analogy was in the social media advertising space, where a lot of accounts were getting banned on Facebook. They were super picky about who can advertise. If you were in a gray area, you were like almost like automatically banned, even if you were ethical business and just trying to improve your business through advertising. But then there was a big drop in Facebook shares, stock value, That was like 9 months ago or so, and they had to do something about it. So they made the rules a bit loose, and a lot of new ad accounts, I guess, were starting advertising on the platform. It became much more easier suddenly, and surprise, surprise, the ad revenue also went up, and
Yeah.
the shares are doing great now. So yeah, yeah. And
No, I was
before
just
we
agreeing
wrap
with you.
up, yeah, yeah, all right. Yeah, that's just my observation, and yeah, not an expert in finance, but yeah, that's something I read about. Um, Before we wrap up, Travis, is there some kind of advice or like a roadmap or some kind of like direction you can give to aspiring dropshippers or print on demand enthusiasts?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I talk about obviously is, well, one of them is organization, standard operating procedures, really, kind of that planning portion. But I think the overarching advice that I would give that encompasses all of that organization is start with the end in mind. Every single time, in every particular area that you're focused on, start with the end in mind. Who are you going to market to? Well, who is that customer that's eventually going to buy your product? And what do they like? What do they want? How do they want to be communicated to? What types of products are they interested in? What are they not interested in? If you start with your customer and not start with your product, I think that you kind of set yourself up for success because you know that type of person. And then all of your decisions are made based on the customer and not based on your whims, because you don't know if what you like is what they like. You just can't know that. But if you study them, understand them, see what they're buying already, and even in your ad copy or your just your descriptions on these channels, if you're communicating them in a way that that particular demographic can understand and appreciate, you have a lot better opportunity to make the sale. But that's just like choosing your products and choosing your niches. Start with the end in mind. It's the same thing with your entire business. Start with the end in mind. What do you want this business to look like in 5 years? And if you want it to be scalable, well then how do you back into creating design IDs, creating SKU structures that make sense, and then, if you're already started, is it worth biting the bullet and redoing all of that stuff? Because like, for instance, Etsy doesn't even require you to have SKUs. It's crazy. And if you start on Amazon and you're doing FBA or FBM, they'll assign you a SKU if you don't insert it when you create that listing. So I have a lot of SKUs that are Amazon assigned. And so what we had to do was go back and painstakingly change all of that stuff and like map it all out to where, okay, this SKU is actually this design ID. And now we're going to use this link with this design ID. And then if that SKU sells, it's matched to the right design ID. And so sometimes there's some pain in your growth, but I feel like it's incredibly worth it it's going to be a lot easier today than it is in a month or a year to go back and really get organized and, take the pain now for your success later. It's going to be so much easier to scale when you're organized. Again, starting with the end in mind. What does your future look like? What does that customer look like? And you could just keep going on and on and on with that. So I know it's a long answer, but I think it just touches all of the different parts of your business,
Yeah. Initially, there's like, if you don't have experience, then of course, what do? You go online, do research, and there's tons of advice, and everybody's telling you do this or do that. So it's easy to get confused, and the paralysis by analysis can kick in. So it's important to have like a north star. You need to know where you're heading so you don't get lost. So yeah, that's really good advice. So Travis, thanks a lot for joining today and sharing your insights and experience in the industry. We'll make sure to add a link to your podcast somewhere down below in the description, and our audience is welcome to go there and learn everything they can, because there's also a lot of takeaways, I bet, not only for print-on-demand industry, but also for supplement-on-demand industry. So thanks again, Travis, and we'll hope to maybe have you on this podcast again sometime.
Sure, I appreciate it. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thank you. All right, cool. Thanks a lot, Travis. Again, it was an interesting conversation, and yeah, I like your approach. How to really scale it? Like I imagine, like you mentioned at one point, how many products do you list on Amazon at one time? Like thousands, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we have probably 10 to 15,000 designs just over the years. We've just, and we've done the spaghetti at the wall thing, and because Amazon has such a high threshold of listing, like you can list 1.5 million before you get into bulk listing fees. And so we create these spreadsheets, and like right now we're getting ready to put up a spreadsheet that has like, I think 400,000 ASINs. Now it's t-shirts, so it's variations. It's going to be several colors with several sizes, and so you can do that. And so you put your t-shirts up, you put your your sweatshirts up and your hoodies up, and pretty soon you're hitting that 1.5 million. But what you can do is you can that's only active. You only pay for the active listings. So you can deactivate them or quantity zero the t-shirts, for instance, in the winter, or deactivate the hoodies in the summer when your t-shirt, or, deactivate your tank tops, or, things like that. So there's some ways to get around it. And it's all based on, in spreadsheets, doing partial updates and all of that. And so, we only recently...
Imagine
Go ahead.
Imagine the inventory costs if you had to list these products in a physical space in a retail store.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy. Print on demand has changed the industry, definitely. And by the way, I noticed recently that Printful and Printfy, they're really going after these big multinational brands. They have a partnership with Netflix, Coca-Cola, and
wow.
I know that H&M invested in Printfy, so I think
they're just getting
players
money
also realize that there's
left and right. They're getting big infusions of cash. Yeah. It seems like every year someone's giving them another 20 million or something.
Yeah, but also why? For example, H&M invested in Printfy. I think it's because maybe they see how this could change also the retail industry. There's a lot of overstock, and it's really difficult to, like information and trends, they're changing even faster than they used to. There's new meme every week, and it's really hard to react fast. If you make a new design and you order it, it's produced somewhere in China, it takes at least a couple months for it to reach retail space, whilst with print on demand, you can react quickly. Something happened yesterday, new meme, you can already start selling the t-shirts, and you don't have to worry about overstock. So maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a whole other strategy too, to scale your print on demand, is just, to set up systems to where you have VAs monitoring the news, and then immediately, your designers are on that new funny thing, and you have a shirt up tomorrow, just like you said. And there's a lot of people doing that. Yeah. I don't know on what scale or whatever, but again, there's just so many.
Actually, I haven't noticed, but I don't know why nobody is posting a link. Imagine there's a super trendy viral post on Twitter, some kind of meme, and somebody would have to just in comments add a link to a t-shirt that has this meme on it, and if it's really viral, I bet they would see some sales.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities. Yeah, just need to be creative and think and act on it.